Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the class on solutions. Today we will look at some basic definitions in solutions. Binary solutions. Binary solutions are three types. What is a binary solution? A solution which is having two different components. A solution which is having two different components is called as a binary solution. Now, there are three different types in a binary solution. One is miscible solutions. What are miscible solutions? When we take two different when we mix two different solvents or two different compounds, when we mix these two, if they result in giving a uniform mixture, if both these components mix with each other in all respects and give a uniform solution, then this type of solvents or this type of compounds are called as miscible compounds. That means both these compounds will mix in all respects and they will generate a uniform solution. For example, look at acetone and chloroform. Acetone is an organic solvent. Chloroform is also an organic solvent like oil. So they will mix with each other in all respects. Of course, you might be having some idea of that alcohol and water are miscible in all respects. Ethanol, alcohol and water are miscible in all respects. Similarly, hexane and heptane. Like that, you can have many examples. Aqueous solutions will mix with each other. Organic solutions will form homogeneous mixtures when they are mixed with each other. Second type is immiscible solvents. Second type is immiscible solutions. What are immiscible? When we mix these two solutions, what will happen? They don't mix with each other. They don't mix with each other. Instead, they will form two phases. One, the red colored compound, and the other blue colored compound. So they don't mix each other when we mix these two solutions. For simplicity, I'll write this is red color solution, this is blue color solution. What are miscible solutions? Miscible solutions will completely mix and generate a uniform solution, whereas immiscible compounds will not mix with each other. Both red color component and blue color component will have their own phases or their own characteristics. Look at the examples for this. A simple example is water and benzene. Water, an aqueous solvent. Benzene is an organic solvent. You can take a simple example where water and oil. Oil will never mix with water, right? Whenever you place a drop of oil in a water, then you will see a layered oil layer on the top of water. So oil and water never mix with each other. Similarly, any organic solvent like benzene, toluene, chloroform, any organic solvent will not mix with water. Now the third type is partially miscible liquids. What is the third type? Partially miscible liquids. What are partially miscible liquids? When we mix these two different components, only a small portion is miscible, whereas when we mix these two solutions, only a small portion is miscible. That means these blue color and red color components will form only a small portion, a small homogeneous solution, whereas a remaining part will be as it is. Red color component will have its own existence. Say for example, this is blue, this is red. So they have their own existence, but to some extent it is partially miscible. So only a small portion is miscible, whereas blue color has its own characteristic or phase, red color has its own characteristic. When we look at the examples of these solutions, phenol and water, phenol and water will form partially miscible solutions. Aniline and water, aniline and water will form partially miscible solution. Triethylamine and water, triethylamine and water will form partially miscible liquids. So these are the three basic types of solutions. What are saturated solutions? For example, take a glass of water and try adding sugar. What happens when we add a small amount of sugar and then we stir it, we mix it properly, then it will dissolve, right? Small amount will dissolve. Now, you try adding one more spoon and then again mix it properly. Again, it will dissolve. Try one more spoon. Try one more spoon. If you add 10 spoons, then what happens? You know, after adding certain amount of sugar, what happens? Whatever the time we wait or whatever the pressure we apply, that means how strong you stir it or how vigorous you mix it, it doesn't matter. Sugar will not dissolve in water. Sugar will not dissolve in water. So that's what it is called as saturated solutions. So a solution which is completely saturated, that means a solution which has solute to the maximum extent dissolved in it. So that's what we call a saturated solution. Saturated, that means it is completely dissolved. If you add some more amount, it will not dissolve. So that's what a saturated solution is. In other words, we can say a solution which remains a solution which remains in contact with its with excess of the solute. A solution which remains in contact with excess of the solute is said to be saturated solution. Please take the notes. What is Raoult's law? The partial pressure of a liquid in a solution of two or more volatile liquids is equal to the partial is equal to the product of mole fraction of that liquid in the solution and the vapor pressure of that pure liquid. Before we discuss Raoult's law, what is vapor pressure? Have you ever observed while fueling your motor vehicle that some of the fuel, particularly in the case of petrol, you can see some of the petrol is vaporizing fastly. You can feel the vapor, right? So that's what it is called vapor pressure. You know, for example, if you take a glass of water in a bottle, then on the top of the liquid layer, we will have vapor layer. In a glass of water, of course, water is in liquid form, but on the top of water layer, we will have a vapor layer. So it is obvious that whenever you have a liquid, on the top of the liquid layer, we are also having vapor layer. But the extent of vapor varies from solvent to solvent. So the pressure of this vapor layer, that is what is called vapor pressure. The pressure of this vapor layer is called as vapor pressure. Now, what are volatile liquids? What are volatile liquids? Volatile liquids or volatile solvents are nothing but solvents having low boiling point. Solvents having low boiling point. What is volatile? Easily vaporizable compound. What is volatile? Easily vaporizable compound. If a compound is easily vaporizable or not, how we will say? If it has a low boiling point. If it has a low boiling point, or in other words, we can say if it has a high vapor pressure. If it has a high vapor pressure. So when the liquid is having high vapor pressure, then we can easily make this vapor pressure equal to atmospheric pressure by applying very low amount of energy. What is boiling point? Can anybody tell me? What is boiling point? What is boiling point definition? Can anyone just unmute your mic and then give your answer? What is a boiling point? Water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. Why? Whereas kerosene will have a low boiling, probably 80 degrees centigrade or something. What is boiling point? When we heat a liquid, then liquid takes the thermal energy and it will convert from liquid state to vapor state. So slowly it will convert liquid phase to vapor phase. That means when it is converting it to vapor phase, it is increasing vapor pressure. When the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to 1 atmosphere, when the vapor pressure becomes equal to 1 atmosphere, then the entire liquid will be converted to vapor. Why 1 atmosphere? It is the atmosphere, normal atmosphere on the earth. Normal atmosphere on the earth is taken as 1 atmosphere. So when we supply energy, the liquid will be converted to vapor phase. Once the vapor pressure becomes equal to 1 atmosphere, then all the solvent in liquid form will be converted to vapor. Now, yeah. What is vapor pressure? The pressure of a pure liquid, vapor pressure P0. What is volatile liquid? A compound with very low boiling points. Now, what is Raoult's law? The partial pressure of a liquid in a solution of 2 or more volatile liquids is equal to the product of mole fraction of that liquid in the solution and the vapor pressure of that pure liquid. For example, if we have a solution of 2 components A and B, then the partial pressure of A in this solution will be equal to mole fraction of A in this solution multiplied by pure vapor pressure, Similarly, partial vapor pressure of B, liquid B, is equal to mole fraction of liquid B multiplied by pure vapor pressure of liquid B. Here, PA and PB are partial vapor pressures of liquid A, liquids A and B. XA and XB mole fractions, please take the notes along with me, mole fractions of liquids A and B. PA naught and PB naught are the pure vapor pressures of liquids A and B. If the vapor behaves like an ideal gas, then according to Dalton's law of partial vapor pressures, the total pressure is given by PS is equal to PA plus PB. If the vapor is an ideal gas, that means it doesn't have any interactions between two vapor molecules, then the total pressure of the solution is given by partial vapor pressure of A plus partial vapor pressure of B. or we can say pressure of solution is equal to XA into PA0 plus XB into PB0. This is what Raoult's law is. Now we can rearrange this equation. For example, what is x? X is mole fraction. We know XA plus XB is equal to 1. In order to convert these mole fractions into one component, we can substitute 1 minus XB for XA. We can substitute 1 minus XB for XA into PA naught plus XB into PB naught. So we can rearrange this equation. PA naught, 1 into PA naught, it becomes PA naught minus XB into PA naught plus XB into PB naught. So when we make XB a common factor, then PB naught minus PA naught into XB. We can rearrange this Raoult's law like this. And we can also convert XB in terms of XA. If we do so, we get PB naught plus, here we get PA naught minus PB naught into XA. So this is how we can represent only mole fraction of A or mole fraction of B in Raoult's law.